Okay. Let's see. We've got the chat going. The mic's working, I think. And yeah, I'm gonna. So this is the size of my second monitor in comparison to the first monitor. It's kind of wild. Just gonna put this back over here. Okay, we've got the video here. Pull up the chat on my phone. And we're good. Okay. Finn says it might be dipping in and out just because connection is unstable. That's all right. Whatever you got to do. Just if I have any questions and I'm waiting a while on your answer or something, I might go do something else, and then when you get back, just be like, hey, I missed the last few minutes in case you ask me something or whatever. That way we can still communicate well. So let's get the stuff I need you for out of the way first. And before that, let's just rewatch what we've got so far so we know what we should work on. And if you see anything that you don't like, then we can tackle it right now. Assuming you're hearing all this, I'm not sure if the mic is going. Assuming the mic is going. It shows that it's going. Let's see. Mic's going. Camera's still not working. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's wrong with that camera. It was working the day I set it up, and then now it's not. Oh, whatever. I don't need it. It's fine. That's that. Okay, perfect. All right. Are you ready? Are you there? Are you hearing? This might be one of those moments where you can't hear me. Those legendary moments. Well, I'm going to hit play, and we'll get to a point where I need your help, and then I will make sure that you... Oh, your color changed for some reason. That's weird. You went from gray to orange, unless you did that on purpose. Alright, let's do this.
The beloved area Muppet Courtyard. Hi everyone, my name is Finn, and I like talking about whatever comes to my stupid little mind. At D23 2024, an event where the Walt Disney Company announces their upcoming movies, TV shows, and especially things inside their theme parks, they announced that they would be building a Monsters Inc. themed land inside of their Hollywood Studios park at Disney World. Currently, it's only a few pieces of concept art, but when they announced it, they hadn't said where it would be being built. A bunch of ideas were being thrown around the community, but the main one was Animation Courtyard. If you don't know, that's the little area that has like the Disney Junior show, a Star Wars store, which you can get the same merch inside of the Star Wars land at the same park, and then the Little Mermaid show. And going into November of 2024, that's what everybody...
I was thinking about ahead a bit. Do you want to re-record the entire puppet show later, just because it could be better if we do end up editing it so it's clips of the show? I'm not sure if we're gonna have to re-record anything, but we're definitely... I was just thinking about not really doing the puppet show at all, just having you talk about the scenes. I think the puppet show is kind of funny, but overall, it'll take away from like the rest of the video that we've done. You know, I'm not saying delete the current video you have, so you'll always have your version of the puppet show stuff. But I was kind of just thinking we cut out the parts that refer to it as a puppet show and just have you basically narrating the show. And then I'll go find somebody who recorded the actual show. We'll credit them and like have a link to their video or whatever. And then we'll just make so the audio makes sense. Yeah. We'll see where we go. I'm hoping we don't have to re-record because that's just more work. But maybe we will. That's part 5. I still don't really remember what parts 2, 3, and 4 are. But yeah, we'll get to that. Probably not today, but when we do, yeah, I was thinking we just get rid of the whole puppet show aspect of it. Which reminds me, did you re-record those other lines? Oh, I forgot I don't really have to read everything if your message is on there. I'm used to reading everything because the PS5, for some reason, doesn't have the fucking chat on the screen at all. It pops up as a little message for me to read, but you don't even see that in the video. So dumb. PS4, way better. Why is the PS4 better at anything? That's stupid to me. Okay, not sure if you heard my question, so I'm just gonna continue and then you'll let me know if you're back or not.
Believed it would be taking over. And then they announced that it would be taking over the fan favorite area, Muppet Courtyard. Muppet Courtyard was the area where they had Muppet Vision. And they said starting June 8th, it would be closing permanently. This came as a shock to many because it was, as I said, beloved. But it's done. As of recording this, it's closed around 2 days ago. And I've decided, since I love this,
I asked if you re-recorded those lines that we sent you. Oh yeah, because we kind of need them for today. Shit, I hope you did do it. Hey, it's no big deal, man. I mean, we don't have to put this video out at any certain time, so whenever we get to it, we get to it. I was thinking we'll just keep editing this video on a weekly schedule, like once a week. You and I will pop in. We'll try to edit it, and then when it's done, it's done. I don't really care how long it takes. It's fine. Yeah, no big deal. So we'll just we'll plan to do that part next week. So today we could go through parts 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and cut out stuff we don't need for surezies. That won't really affect the part, what we've done so far, and what we still will have to do in part 1. So we'll just do that today. We're not actually going to be able to finish part 1 entirely without your re-recordings, but that's okay. Not a big deal.
action so much, I would go back and just do a brief history of it. To do this, I've divided it into an easily internet-friendly numbered list. Part 1, a really brief history of the Muppets and Jim Henson. Jim Henson was born September 24th of 1936. The Muppets started out as a small series called Sam and Friends, and then Henson started working with Sesame Street in 1969. He started incorporating his Muppets characters, namely Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy, and Fozzie, a lot of the well-known character, and they quickly jumped to popularity above almost everybody else. He then recorded their own show, The Muppet Show, in 1976, and it ended in 1981. After The Muppet Show, he just kept going. He created Fraggle Rock, one of my personal favorite films, The Labyrinth, and Muppet Babies, which is like a sequel/prequel. I don't really know what it is. And it got rebooted in 2018. They only grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppets Treasure Island, a bunch of games, albums. Then after the 90s, they kind of faded off into, the reference bin, like something that Family Guy would reference. The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney's eye, and in 1989 they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios. They announced that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride, a Italian-themed restaurant, and most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D. And then, the Muppet Revival, they started doing the Muppets again. In 2011, they had a film release, then they had a sequel, a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini-movies, but nowadays they're kind of in that area where, they're kind of where they were in the 90s, but still kind of more popular.
Okay, so that's parts 0 and 1, 0 being the intro. These ones down here, this whole layer 70 is all things that either need to be re-recorded or worked on in some fashion. So this one was you not really sure if this is a prequel or sequel. We should find that out for certainty and then, say that as opposed to being unsure. I think it kind of makes us not as good looking. This one over here is a re-record, this is a re-record, this is a re-record, and this is a re-record. So whenever we get those re-records, those are the 4 right there. And in this one, I don't think we'll have to re-record because I could just cut out you saying prequel or sequel. If cut out whatever one is the right one and leave that one in, and then I could just readjust this. But yeah, and then for here to here, we just need to find some pictures or figure out if there's not going to be a picture on screen. So yeah, if you have any ideas for what you want to show during this, let me know. Otherwise, it's going to be you talking.
Then after the 90s, they kind of faded off into, the reference bin, like something that Family Guy would reference.
I don't know if you want to make a reference bin. Like we can just make a little garbage bin kind of looking thing, or just a container bin. I guess that makes more sense. And then just have different pictures of Muppets in different things in that bin, and then show a Family Guy clip after that. Let's see. The Muppets Haunted Mansion. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Non-canon sequel. Okay, well, let's look up and be sure. I was trying to look into it a little bit, but I couldn't really figure it out, so I figured it'll be better if we're both looking up together. Especially because we're not actually watching it. I couldn't find a definitive answer. I tried Googling it, and Google AI is just so smart, let me tell you. It said that it is neither a sequel nor a prequel. It is a 2. As in, like, a continuation. It's like, so that would be a sequel. So, what are you talking about? I can't stand that shit. Anyway, Photoshop a picture of Peter Griffin Muppet characters. Yeah, dude, if you want to do anything like that, just send me the picture when you're done, and then I can put it in here. Very easy. All right. So you said Haunted Mansion. When is that?
It got rebooted in 2018. They only grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppet's Treasure Island, a bunch of games, albums. Then after them,
oh, over here, you said that The Labyrinth was like your favorite movie, so I wanted you to pick out the picture.
One of my personal favorite films, The Labyrinth.
Yes, I want you to pick that one out. I think that would be more whatever the word is. Google AI is the greatest thing.
They only grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppet's Treasure Island, a bunch of games, albums. Then after the 90s, they kind of faded off into, the reference bin above 76, and it recorded their own show. He just kept going. He created Fraggle Rock, one of my personal favorite films, The Labyrinth, and Muppet Babies, which is like a sequel slash prequel. I don't really know what it is. And it got rebooted in 2018. They only grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppet's Treasure Island, a bunch of games, albums. Then after the 90s, they kind of faded off into, the reference bin, like something that Family Guy would reference. The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney's eye, and in 1989 they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios. They announced that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride.
I could hold on. I had a Google search of Labyrinth. You could just show me which one you want. What the fuck did I do with that? Yeah, this is it. Oh, wait a minute. This was the first one I did. I still have 2 open. God damn it, Zach. Alright, and don't worry about any of that. Here it is. This is the one I was using. Alright, so yeah, so are any of these pictures good? Also, I shouldn't pay attention too much because Alyssa's gonna make me watch this movie. But it might take a bit to send because I have a picture of me in the yearbook in a Labyrinth shirt. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, well, however you want to do it, I don't care. If you want to use one of these and then combine it with a picture of you, or just a picture of you, or just one of these, whatever you want to do, just tell me what to do. And I hope you're learning how to edit through all this too. So if you have any editing questions, I mean, I feel like for the most part, what I do is either pretty simple looking or self-explanatory or I'm explaining as I'm doing it. But if you have any questions, just let me know. Anyway, do you like any of these pictures? And I'm trying to limit us to like an hour of working. That way I can do some other stuff too. Fourth one, the top row. This one? Alright, I gotta open that folder.
They only grew in popularity. One of my personal favorites.
Yeah, see, we have so many assets now that it's making me have to scroll top to bottom. Scrolling left to right is kind of inevitable, but the top to bottom one is really annoying. But I can't do anything about that because we need to have all these assets. Well, once we get rid of the re-recording ones, we won't need that row, so then that will be fine, I guess.
Films The Labyrinth. One of my personal favorite films, The Labyrinth. And Muppet Babies, which is like a sequel slash prequel. And films The Labyrinth. And Muppet Babies, which is like a sequel slash...
That's perfect somehow. Alright. Download the editing software on my computer. I'm just making everything on my own to try and get it down. Yeah, absolutely. If you have any questions about that, you can shoot me anytime. Just show me like what you're trying to do, and I could probably figure it out. Or I can even do a video showing you how to do it. Alright, so we got that picture. That's good. What else do we need? Well, we've got you here. Okay, so Muppet Babies trying to establish whether prequel or sequel. Oh, this was the mini movies one. Yeah, when do you say that? It must be after
prequel. I don't really know what it is. And it got rebooted in 2018. They only grew in popularity from there, spun off into movies like Muppet's Treasure Island, a bunch of games, albums. Then after the 90s, they kind of faded off into, you know, the reference bin, like something that Family Guy would reference. The success of the Muppets in the 80s earned Disney's eye, and in 1989 they began to enter a merger deal with Jim Henson Studios. They announced that there would be a Muppets Great Movie Ride.
Okay, so let's go get that. Muppets Great Movie Ride. I remember we found concept art pictures of it, and that's exactly what we want here. No. Yeah, okay. So what should we use for that? This picture's not terrible. Doesn't really show us much, but it's something. Then there's all these ones down here we could use. Indiana Jones concept art. Pigs in Space. Peter Pan. Frankenstein. I'm confused. What do those have to do with Muppets? Pigs in Space, I'm pretty sure some Muppets things, but then the other ones I'm confused. Wait, isn't it? Oh, that looks very Muppets to me. So what the fuck is this? Oh, okay. It must be the mini movies, which features scenes and behind the scenes mostly based on the movies. The Muppet version was continued to explain the way movies are produced. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I would have liked to be on that. Oh, lots of misinformation. Oh, well, maybe not then. Works well, just get the point across. Yeah, well, you're not talking about it for very long, so I think we just are going to use the one picture, right?
A Muppet's Great Movie Ride. A
Yeah, either we'd have to do just one picture, or we'd have to do all the pictures at once because you talk about it so briefly. But if this is what you want, let's use this one. Is that the right kind of file? I know certain ones it doesn't let me do it. Yeah, okay. If I bring it over here and it's a picture, we're good. If I bring it over here and it's not a picture, it does not work. I've learned that. Whenever you bring it in, it's going to be gigantic. You just got to make it smaller real quick. It's really annoying, but you got to do it every fucking time. That's why I like to do multiple pictures at once. But I either forget to do that, or it just doesn't work out with what we're doing currently.
A Muppet's Great Movie Ride.
We can pick out the picture for this right now.
Italian themed restaurant. And most importantly, Muppet Vision 3D.
Alright, so we should probably use a different picture of Muppet 3D because, you know, we've already used the same picture twice and then we've used some other pictures. So if we can find something else, maybe, I was going to say maybe one that you have of you actually there, but you're going to use those later. Or we can minimize that from later to do it. I'm not sure. Anyway, what should we use for the Muppets restaurant picture? And then you wanted to maybe clarify that or something. So should we pick out the picture later then?
And then the Muppet Revival, they started doing the Muppets again. In 2011, they had a film release. Then they had a sequel, a sitcom, a bunch of other short mini movies.
Oh, right there is where you say, okay, finally I fucking figured it out. Short mini movies. So you want specifically, I believe you said Haunted Mansion. Muppets Haunted Mansion. Yes, you did. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna do a duplicate. Muppets Haunted Mansion. All right. So one of our viewers, keep an eye on the clock because I don't want to do this for too long. I'm trying to do like 1 hour each time we do this. We're at 24 minutes. Okay. All right. What picture looks real good? We got the poster. We've got a more wide poster. This one might actually work better for a video. And then I don't know. These other ones are specific scenes that maybe you would want something. I'm not sure. I've never watched this. Didn't even know this was a thing. When is this from? Because that guy, isn't that Will Arnett? Very much looks like him. If it's not him, I'll be surprised. TV special 2021. Okay, yeah, so probably him. The white poster. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Because then I think it'll look better. And then you want that to take up the whole spot of you talking about mini movies, or did you want that to just be included, or did you want that to be highlighted and then we have other ones too, or what do you want to do there? Okay, I don't care then. That's fine. We can do that. Less work is easier.
A bunch of other short mini movies, but a bunch of other short mini movies, but nowadays they're kind of in.
Okay. All right. I think we are done with part one as much as we can before you do the re-recordings. All right. I think we did everything. What's this?
This came as a shock to many because it was, as I said, beloved. But it's done as of recording this. It's closed around 2 days ago, and I've
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any pictures in mind for any of this dialogue that you're saying, or should we just leave it as you?
decided, since I love this attraction so much, I would go back and just do a brief history of it. To do this, I've divided it into an easily internet-friendly numbered list.
My dad suggested that in the background, even if you're not talking about anything specific, we could just have random Muppets pictures. So then it's still you, but then still has other stuff too. The white person. Oh, I already read that. I thought I saw something pop up. I think I'm seeing the screen change. I'm just going to pause the video and assume that everything is good. But anyway, that's one thing we could do for any of these moments where you're talking for a long time, but not about anything in specific.
November of 2024, that's what everybody believed it would be taking over. And then they announced that it would be taking over the fan favorite area.
Yeah, okay.
Muppet Courtyard.
We could do that.
Muppet Courtyard was the area where they had Muppet Vision, and they said starting June 8th, it would be closing permanently. This came as a shock to many because it was, as I said, beloved. But it's done as of recording this. It's closed around 2 days ago.
All right. Well, we should start taking a look at parts 2, 3, and 4 because I don't remember them like at all at this point. I remember doing part 1 so much that I have it not memorized because I couldn't find the mini movies part, but I remember so much about it. And then part 5 I remember is the play. And then between 2 and 3 and 4, I remember you showed pictures, but other than that, I haven't seen that portion of it since the first day I watched it. So we should get into this anyway.
Part 2, the production of Muppet Vision. Filming began in January.
Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and separate this now, but I'm not actually going to add it. What the fuck's going on? I'm not going to actually add in the part 2 cover picture until later because then that's more things I have to move. So I think this will just be nice for future Zach to set up.
Part 2, the production of Muppet Vision.
Okay, so again, these jagged lines are audio. These straight lines are going to be like dull nothingness. So I don't want to get too close to it, but I also don't want to have so much of a gap before it. So I'm trying to get close-ish to it.
Filming began.
I think that's pretty perfect. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm drawing the outline of where that cover photo is going to be. It's going to be from here to here, if that makes sense.
Part 2, the production of Muppet Vision.
Though we might cut off a little bit of that beginning part. I'm not sure. We'll see.
Filming began in January of 1990 and was directed by Henson. It featured one of his last performances.
Okay, well, there you go. There was a little stumble there. We can just cut that out. It looks like it was right there.
Henson. It featured one.
understand the sentence before I try to chop it up.
It was directed by Henson. It featured...
Alright, so basically I'm just going to grab it from here, and I'm going to drag it to here. And I'm going to do cut region. And then I'll go back a little bit just to ensure that it makes sense.
Filming began in January of 1990 and was directed by Henson. It featured one of his last performances and also one of the last performances as the Muppets with Richard Hunt.
We can get rid of just this gap. It's like you reading it or something. We don't need that. Here, I'll do this and then I'll see how it is.
Muppets with Richard.
Yeah, so you drag out the S. So that's something I think I could just cut out and it won't sound weird.
Last performances as the Muppets with
Just gotta figure out where you start dragging it.
Muppets.
It looks like it's like right around here. So if I cut this, is that gonna make sense?
Performances as the Muppet with Richard Hunt.
The Muppet. God damn it. Alright. We click restore region. We see where it is. And then perhaps I could just drag a little bit like that. And then I click cut again. And then I go back and I try again.
Muppet with Richard Hunt.
Okay, that sounded like you just kind of skipped over the letter, so we're very close. Hold on. We got this. How about that? My foot is fucking falling asleep. I need a better setup here.
As the Muppets with Richard Hunt.
Damn it. I thought you dragged it out a lot longer than you did, I suppose. Let's try that.
As the Muppets with Richard Hunt.
That's fine.
But unfortunately...
I love the Muppet. God damn it. I don't know if you're being serious, because I could have just left it open. Oh. And while we are doing all this, I have my, basically Agatha battling in the Pokemon game, getting me all the new event that's going on. So, you know, always multitasking.
But unfortunately, on May 16th of 1990, Henson passed away before it was completely finished. This led to the merger failing, but they did end up acquiring...
I think we just cut out that it's not necessary.
Failing. Failing, but they did end up acquiring them in the early 2000s, and it caused the delay of Muppet Vision being opened. It was originally supposed to open in May of 1990. May of 1990, and then it got pushed back to May 16th, 1991, exactly 1 year after Henson had passed. When it opened, it only included Muppet Vision. It did not have the courtyard area or the Italian courtyard area or the Italian restaurant and the Great Muppet Movie and the Great Muppet Movie Ride and the Great Muppet Movie Ride was completely scrapped. So it kind of offered a lot less than was expected, but it still came out.
I think we should probably just cut out that last part there. Because you got your point across, and then I think you were just kind of ad-libbing before you stopped the camera. So if we just kind of cut that, it keeps it in tone better, I think.
A lot less than was expected. But
I think we just cut it right here. I think that's fine. But up to you. What do you think? I'll put the marker down just in case. Alrighty. Alright, so let's see how that sounds.
filming began in January of 1990 and was directed by Henson. It featured one of his last performances and also one of the last performances as the Muppets with Richard Hunt. But unfortunately, on May 16th of 1990, Henson passed away before it was...
Oh, I think you meant to say of the Muppets, not as the Muppets.
Featured one of his last performances and also one of the last performances as the Muppets with Richard...
Yeah, I think that would make more sense. You did say of the Muppets right before, so I might be able to just take the word of from that. Hold on, let me see if I can do that. And then we can just copy paste.
Hunt. The last performance is as the Muppet.
No, wait, that's you saying the wrong thing. Whoops.
His last performances and also one of the last performances as the Muppets with Richard Hunt. January of 1990 and was directed by Henson. It featured one of his last performances and also one of the last performances as the Muppets with Richard Hunt. But unfortunately, on May 16th of 19... Filming began in January of 1990 and was directed by Henson.
Yeah, that could work too. Hold on.
It featured one of his last performances and also one of the last performances as the Muppets with Richard Hunt.
Yeah, that's probably a better choice. Let's do that.
Performances as the Muppets with the last performances.
It might be a little tricky because if you say it quickly, but either way, I would have had to do that.
The last performances as...
It looks like the word "ass" starts here, so I think I just cut this to this, and then I gotta go cut that. I thought I already did.
One of the last performances with Richard Hunt.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah,
okay, then we just cut this shit. I thought I already fucking did this. Did I cut something else accidentally? This is where I like to check it and make sure it all makes sense.
With Richard Hunt. But unfortunately, on May...
I'm just gonna save this. Just gonna cut that. We're gonna delete this one because it's an excess. Drag this to this one. Alright, now let's try again. Oh, we should save. I feel like I haven't saved it in a while.
Part 2, the production of Muppet Vision. Filming began in January of 1990 and was directed by Henson. It featured one of his last performances and also one of the last performances with Richard Hunt. But unfortunately, on May 16th of 1990, Henson passed away before it was completely finished.
I kind of want to have just a little bit more of a pause between you saying, but unfortunately.
Unfortunately, with Richard Hunt. But unfortunately...
Just like another second, I think would make it
But
better.
unfortunately...
So I'm just going to add a marker, delete that, drag that, and I'm just going to just give it just a tiny bit more breathing room on that.
Part 2, the production of Muppet Vision. Filming began in January of 1990 and was directed by Henson. It featured one of his last performances.
You kind of have a pause before the word "and." I might be able to just fix that.
And in January of 1990 and was...
Yeah, maybe just that pause isn't necessary.
Began in January of 1990 and was directed by Henson. It featured one of his last performances and also one of the last performances with Richard Hunt.
Okay, yeah, I like that better. And then I gotta figure out where I don't want this space to be. Let's try that.
Part 2, the production of Muppet Vision. Filming began in January of 1990 and was directed by Henson. It featured one of his last performances and also one of the last performances with Richard Hunt. But unfortunately, on May 16th of 1990...
That's slightly too long of a pause. I just wanted just a tiny bit more breathing room on that. It just felt like, you know, it needed the sentence to end kind of thing.
Part 2, the production of Muppet Vision. Filming began in January of 1990 and was directed by Henson. It featured one of his last performances and also one of the last performances with Richard Hunt. But unfortunately, on May 16th of 1990...
It won't look weird because we're going to have pictures and stuff, so...
Henson passed away before it was completely finished. This...
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do for future Zach when I'm dragging all this shit is I'm going to go ahead and plug up this gap with something. So that way I can just drag them all together. So even though there already is a black spot there, I'm going to fill it with a black picture so that way there is an object there. I might actually want to just ever so slightly smaller anyway.
It featured one of his last performances and also one of the last performances with Richard Hunt. But unfortunately, on May 16th...
Oh, I actually kind of liked it better with this slight ever so more pause. So I'm just going to drag this to this. We're only talking about a fraction of a second, but it just makes a difference. Alright, let's keep going.
Of 1990, Henson passed away before it was completely finished. This led to the merger failing, but they did end up...
You pausing a little bit in there?
Finished. This led to the merger failing, but... This led to the... This led to the merger failing. The merger failing led to the... Led to the merger failing.
I don't like that.
This led to the merger failing.
I don't know which one sounds better. Because one of is you trying to read the next word kind of thing while you're narrating at the same time. And then
This led to the merger failing.
one sounds a little too chopped.
This led to the merger failing.
In fact, you can hear a little noise from the chop. I'll try that. Give you a little bit more of the and a little bit more space between the word merger.
Led to the merger failing. But they did
Yeah, that's slightly better. It's got the same effect as you pausing for it, but it just sounds a little bit more...
up acquiring them in the early 2000s. And it caused the delay of Muppet Vision being opened.
Okay, you had pauses here, and I was going to leave them, but I'm not sure if it flows with the rest as much now, so let me see.
In the early 2000s. And it caused...
Wow, I already took something out here. I think we could just take this whole thing out right here. We're making your video shorter by a few seconds.
The early 2000s. And it caused the delay of Muppet Vision being opened. It was originally supposed to open in May of 1990, and then it got pushed back to May 16th, 1991, exactly 1 year after Henson had passed. When it opened, it only included Muppet Vision. It did not have the courtyard area or the Italian restaurant, and the Great Muppet Movie ride was completely scrapped. So it kind of offered a lot less than was expected.
A little bit too much space in there, let me see.
Scrapped. So it kind of offered a lot less than was expected.
A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there, let me see. A little bit too much spacing there
completely scrapped. So it kind of offered a lot less than was expected. The ride was completely scrapped. So it kind of offered a lot less than was expected.
Yeah, I think that's good. All right, thoughts on that? Where are we at? We are at 46 minutes, so we got like 14 more minutes. Well, if you are not actually here, I guess I'll just get started on the next part.
The exterior. Part 3, the exterior. When you first entered Muppet Courtyard, one of the first things you would see was the fountain.
All right, so my plan was to cut out you not showing the picture and the introduction of the picture, so it would just be the picture. Now I could do that a couple different ways. I can either save this as a picture by itself. Oh, hold on. I don't usually see too many 4th of July decorations. I'll definitely see, like, if you go to Walmart, they've got the fireworks section. I was talking about in the parking lot, but I think there's one in the store as well.
Was the fountain. The fountain.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a copy, and this copy is going to be the sole purpose of just pictures. Why is this one bigger than the rest? What the fuck is fucking going on? Oh, I just expanded that one instead of shrinking this. Okay. I think it was when I was trying to drag something, I accidentally dragged the lines. This shit gets annoying. Anyway. If I just lift this up. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to cut to the best parts of each of your pictures that you show.
When you first entered Muppet Courtyard, one of the first things you would see was the fountain.
Alright, so that's a pretty good spot. So what I'm going to do is delete everything beforehand.
This fountain featured Miss Piggy as the Statue of Liberty, one of the rats, most likely Rizzo. On the side of the building was this mural, but this was also removed a few years before the closing of it. But it's a reference to Pulp Fiction.
That's probably the best spot there.
Sorry, The Shawshank Redemption.
See, and we can just cut that out completely. You don't have to worry about you making a mistake.
A few years before the closing of it.
Can you go a little bit slower?
A few years before the closing.
That's not bad. Oh, that's definitely clear, so let's delete that. So I didn't do that one.
But it's a reference to Pulp Fiction. The Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, wait, shit, that was better. But I just have to zoom in a little bit, I think. I'll show you how to do that, too.
Shawshank Redemption. There was also, originally, on top of it, there was this balloon of Kermit the Frog. It also used to say Jim Henson on top of it. There was this balloon of Kermit the Frog. It also used to say Jim Henson's Muppet Vision 3D, but that sign, the Jim Henson part, was removed a few years after its opening. And then, lastly, the one last thing I want to touch on is whatever the hell this guy is. I don't know what he is.
Ooh, yeah, see, I like that the picture got clearer. We'll use that one.
But I like him. Uh,
Oh, just a little tip. Next time you want to hold up pictures, hold it like along the frame, if you know what I mean. So that way your finger's not covering it at all. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus, hard to explain. Like palm it, if that makes sense. So your fingertips will just be on the outline to keep it in place, but they won't actually be covering the photo at all. That way we can use this for this kind of thing where we take the picture from it. Um, and just also, even if we don't change it, you can see the picture better.
but I like them. Uh,
I don't know what that guy is
there's a
at.
lot of other Muppets lab themed stuff, which is, Dr. Honeydew and Beaker,
Yeah, so if we can find pictures of
which I'm
that,
assuming what this guy's part of. But a lot of
we can
references
re-reference
to
that.
the Muppets were removed from the area even a long time before the closing of Muppet Courtyard. And now it's probably going to be removed for the most part, just throughout the parks as a whole.
Bro, I was stressing about having to edit parts 2, 3, 4 as well because I didn't remember them, but they're so short that I don't think they're going to be much of an issue at all. Alright, so what I want to do now.
This fountain featured Miss Piggy as the statue.
Is edit it so it's just an image essentially. So when we find the best version of it, and then we just kind of make it less than a second. Oh, that ain't bad. I think I can rotate it. Five is like the long part, but I don't think it would be too awful. It might be pretty bad. We'll see. But part 1 was a lot more information than compared to the other ones, so it put it out of perspective where I was thinking that parts 2, 3, and 4 were also going to be as informational that it was going to take a while, but it wasn't that bad. Like, we're only going to have to find a few images for parts 2 and 3 so far. And then, right, because this is 3, not 4? I don't remember anymore.
This fountain featured Miss Piggy as the Statue of Liberty. This fountain featured Miss Piggy as the Statue of Liberty. This fountain featured.
Is that a better picture than that? Kind of. Yeah, definitely. Because you can see the bottom part.
Miss Piggy is the Statue of Liberty. One of the
If I can rotate it, this is probably the best picture.
Most likely Rizzo, in a boat stealing money, and then Fozzie, Animal, and Gonzo all doing a filming of Miss Piggy. Now, when I most recently went in April of 2020, the fish on the outside, these guys, I don't know if you can see them.
We'll circle them. It'll be obvious. Alright. So now we gotta let's go and see this. Zoom in. We're gonna make these into basically just images. Alright, so this one was not very good.
Likely Rizzo, one of the.
Okay, so you see this little tiny thing right here? That is a video. And it is a less than a second video of that picture. So then all you do is just expand it. And as long as there's no audio from it, then that is the picture. Make sense? So then what I want to do is crop tools, custom region, and then I can just kind of, ooh, maybe I can't rotate it. Well, I guess I could do more work and do paint stuff. I don't feel like doing that. But yeah, so this is how you would crop just a photo. Shit. Man, I really can't fucking rotate this from here. I really can't fucking do that. It's not a thing. You can just kind of crop out your fingers. That's close to good. Really? Really? I thought I'd be able to fucking crop it. And rotate it. I know I can crop it. I thought I could rotate it. Is there any of these things that let me rotate something? Alright, I guess we'll go into paint. And at that point, I'm just going to make it into a photo. Alright, but if you didn't have to rotate it, I guess, this is a way that you can make it a picture. Because then, look, I could just do...
Right. One of the
like, that's what you'll see, is this and this alone. Because of the top layer kind of thing.
one of the right.
Makes sense? Alright, so... let's go... cutting and splitting? How did I make it bigger? I think that's fine. We are approaching the 1 hour mark. Make sure you return your seats to the upright, whatever position. I'm just gonna leave this, see what I can do with it in paint. Oh wait, I'm already in paint, I forgot. Alright. Now, how do I rotate this bitch? Okay, I can rotate 90 degrees. I don't want to go full 90. Are you telling me I really can't rotate it at all? Just ever so slightly, like you do on the phone. You're telling me that ain't a fucking option? Yeah. Close your tray table and enter your devices into airplane mode. Can I really not just do a slight rotate on this fucking shit? This is literally all I can do? What does this do? Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I forgot that those are options. Alright, I guess I'll just use the other fucking picture. Whatever, man. I don't care that much. It's fine. Just gonna drag this to the bottom. So in case I wanna revisit it, I can.
Part 3, the exterior. The exterior. Miss Piggy is the
Okay.
When you first entered Muppet one of the right, one of the first
Ooh, I might be able to combine. No, that wouldn't work because it's not rotated. 1 hour mark. Good job, Finn. Thank you so much. I'm just gonna finish what I'm doing here, and then we'll call it a day.
Miss Piggy is the Statue of Liberty, one of the rats.
Oh, I dragged the wrong one off. Shit, where did I put that? Oh, you know what? I never separated this title card area, I don't think.
Part 3, the exterior.
Yeah, I never did that. Okay. That's why I was fucking like... I was looking for the break mark, and I was like, well, I guess it's this one then.
First things you hear, Miss Piggy is the Statue of Liberty. When you first enter...
Jesus Christ, okay, this is gonna get confusing. Alright, I think we're good. This is the picture I'm gonna use. So...
Muppet one of the...
We can delete this. We can delete this.
Most likely Rizzo, in a boat stealing a building, was a few years before the close.
Okay, so we don't need this.
When you first entered Muppet... Part 3, the exterior...
Oh, no problem, man. I'm glad I can help, and I hope you're learning from this. And, you know, I was thinking about it, and this is shit I taught myself way back, what was it, like 2016-ish? When I was working on, like, my first few videos. So, you know, if I had someone to teach me the things that I taught myself, then I would have learned a little bit faster. So I'm hoping to give you just a head start, that's all. And all I ask is that when you are famous one day, just remember that I helped you and just give me some credit or something.
Part 3, the exterior. When you...
Why is there like a little jump in... Oh, I think it's this. Let me... Audio effects, amplitude, silence. Whole parent duration. Okay. Because I think my little fraction of a second has some audio to it.
Part 3, the exterior. When you first...
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
Entered Muppet Court...
Oh, I want to get a black background here to... Can we just... Erase this. There we go. Copy, paste. Put that there. Okay, there we go.
When you first entered Muppet Courtyard, one of the first things you would see...
Alright, I don't like that you say first twice. Can we fix that though? Maybe... Which verse should we get rid of? Your video, Finn. So we can either do... When you first enter Muppet Courtyard, you'll see, or when you enter Muppet Courtyard, one of the first things you'll see. Yeah, absolutely.
Part 3, the exterior. When you first entered Muppet Courtyard, one of the first things you would see was the fountain. This fountain featured Miss... You put so much emphasis on the second one, I'm kind of leaning towards the second one being the one. Yeah, okay, we had the same idea. So what I'm going to do is just really quickly go in there and cut out the first one. When you first enter... So it'll be when you enter. When you first entered, you first entered. That looks like the start of the word. That looks like that. Alright, let's cut that and see how that looks. Or sounds, really. When you entered Muppet Courtyard. Damn.
Your tone is too different. You're either gonna have to re-record that or we leave both firsts.
When you entered Muppet Courtyard, one of the first things...
Because you were too enthusiastic about that. First.
When you entered Muppet Courtyard, one of the first things you would...
Alright, well. Your call. Either we'll re-record that, add it to the line of re-records, or just leave both of them in. If someone becomes 20% of the video's profits. That'd be cool. Whatever you want to do. Maybe I'll just have you edit one of my videos one day.
Interior. When you first entered Muppet Courtyard, one of the first things you would see...
Let me try and take out the second first and see if it sounds better.
...was...
And then I'm also going to cut out the pause you have before showing the picture, because the picture's always on the screen, so there's no point in that pause.
One of the first things you would see...
I think I'll just cut off the start from you.
Things you would see. Things you would see. Things you would see. Things you would see. Things you would see was. Things you would see was courtyard. One of the first courtyard. One of the courtyard. One of
Huh. I don't know where to do it.
Entered Muppet Courtyard.
Oh, you would see, right?
One of the first things you would see. You would see was. You would see what you would see
I think that's probably the best it can get, but I don't think it's going to sound very good, so we're probably just going to either re-record it or leave it as is. To what you were saying a few seconds ago, you have to meet 3 requirements in order to make money on YouTube. Even if your videos have ads like mine do, I still can't make money yet. I know one of them is having 1,000 subscribers, and then the other one has something to do with time or blah blah blah. I'm not sure. If you go on the YouTube Studio app, there was an easy somewhere I stumbled into it, and it was like, here are the 3 things, and I think I had 2 of them checked off. The other one I was missing was 1,000 subscribers, which I'm inching closer and closer. So soon I should be able to start making money here.
When you first...
Well, not here, because here is Twitch, and I already make money on Twitch, technically.
...entered Muppet Courtyard, you would see was... You would see... was... the fountain. This fountain featured Miss Piggy as the... This fountain featured Miss Piggy as the... The fountain. This fountain...
This might be a little awkward because we can already see it and you're trying to do a dramatic effect. We'll see how it goes.
When you first entered Muppet Courtyard, you would see was... See the fountain. This fountain featured Miss Piggy as the Statue of Liberty, one of the rats, most likely Rizzo, in a boat stealing money, and then Fozzie, Animal, and Gonzo all doing a filming of Miss Piggy. Now, when I most recently went in April of 2025, all these... went in April of 2025. I
don't know why the lines aren't showing, but I figured out where you say the so I think it's fine. Should be this, right? I don't want to delete it. Yep, okay. Drag that, move that. Let's see how that sounds.
April of 2025. All these elements, except for Miss Piggy, the rats in the boat, and the fish on the outside,
I don't think. I think you can see it clear enough. We don't have to have you trying to clarify it. We could probably just cut that part. Oh, look, the lines are back.
In the boat, and all these elements except for Miss Piggy, the rat. All these elements except for Miss Piggy, the rats in the boat, and
Okay, what'd you say? My thing is like 1,000 subs, 10 million views, or like 400 watched or something like that. Yeah, I don't remember what the details were. I just remember that I'm missing 1,000 subs, so I'm getting close. Hi, Allie, what's up?
all these elements except for Miss Piggy, the rats in the boat, and the fish,
Okay, so we can cut that little pause there.
and all these elements except for Miss Piggy, the rats in the boat, and the fish on the outside.
Yeah, we definitely don't need you clarifying. I think I'll just circle it
Side.
when you talk about it. So this is good. So we're trimming off seconds of the video.
Outside. Side.
To not have that noise.
These guys. These guys. I don't know if you can see them. Everything else was gone. Everything. All these elements except for Miss Piggy, the rats in the boat, and the fish on the outside. Everything else was gone.
I think that's fine. So we just gotta drag this.
I don't know when this happened, but it has to have been a while ago because as long as I can remember, they have not been there. On the side of the building was this mural. On the building.
Okay, we don't need that. I know I said I was only gonna do an hour, but like it's hard to stop at this point. I want to just finish this segment.
Not been there. On the side of the building, on the side of the building, side of the building, on the side of the, on the side of the building, on the side of, because as long as I can remember, they have not been there. On the side of the building.
Perhaps we should make a second version of this photo, or just cross off all the things that wouldn't be there, just to better, or circle the things that are. I don't know. Better establish the two different versions that you're talking about. That's all I mean. Whoops. Okay, this is going to be hard to grab. I have to make it bigger. There we go. Alright, this is what we have now.
Part 3, the exterior. When you first entered Muppet Courtyard, you would see a fountain. This fountain featured Miss Piggy as the Statue of Liberty, one of the rats, most likely Rizzo, in a boat stealing money, and then Fozzie, Animal, and Gonzo all doing a filming of Miss Piggy. Now, when I most recently went in April of 2025,
Fozzie, Animal, and I think Gonzo?
all these elements except for Miss Piggy, the rats in the boat, and the fish on the outside.
Okay, so you're saying missing.
Everything else was gone. I don't know when this happened, but it has to have been a while ago.
Or if we could just find another photo, like one of the more recent ones before it was gone.
Because as long as I can remember, they have not been there. On the side of the building.
I just want to.
A reference to Pulp Fiction. Or reference, but it's a reference to Pulp.
Is this the picture that I want to use? Yeah, that is. Okay, so I just want to do a little second off of that. And then we're gonna drag. Nope. Really? Some things are too tiny to expand, so we gotta zoom in to be able to see it. And then we can expand it. There we go. So this is the picture that we'll use. I'll just leave this for future Zach to do. Just drag it over to here.
On the side of the building was this mural.
Work on that later. I just want to get these other audios out now, so that way it's much easier next time we continue. So what is this a picture of? That's also the mural. I think that one's fine. So we can just delete this one. And then what's this a picture of? Oh, that might be a little bit better. Looks less blurry. Yeah, that's probably better. Might be a little bit rotated though. Okay, then that's that picture. So I'm gonna leave that there like that. And then this.
Kermit the Frog.
I can cut off the top so it's not gonna look as angled. Okay, right, that's the good picture of it.
Pulp Fiction. Sorry, The Shawshank Redemption. There was also originally on top of it, there was this.
Really cool that you have these photos, man. They're so personal. It's good. And then that's it. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. This was part 3, I believe. Fucking. No? You're still not gonna let me? Whatever, man. Okay, so now all the other audio aspects should be gone. I might have to mute them later, but I don't. It's probably fine. If I do, I'll figure it out. We'll hear it. And then that leads into part 4.
Part 4.
Okay. Alright, that's where we're going to stop for today. I think we've done enough. Might just drag this the whole way through, right? Oh, wait, why is this? That looks wrong. Hold on a second.
Arch as a whole.
It looks like it has extra nothingness. Yeah, it does. When you see the half triangle and then a gap, and then you see when you hover on it and it goes the red line, for some reason it just made it bigger, and you don't need to, so just very carefully drag it to where the red line is. There you go. Okay. Alright, so this is where we'll pick up next time, but also we'll go back to part 1 and hopefully finish it if you have your re-recordings, and then also we can figure out the pictures for part 2. Part 3 is basically done. Part 3 is like maybe the easiest of the entire video. I don't remember part 4 at all. And then part 5 has to be the play. What was part 4? Alright, hold on, I'm gonna watch this real quick.
Coolest pre-shows I've seen in all of theme parks. And it could be its own show because it's almost 15 minutes long. When it starts, there's these 3 construction guys, and they're setting it up. Obviously, there's a lot of hijinks, but they end up getting it done after a few minor accidents. Um, Scooter then comes in. He's kind of like the production guy for the Muppets. And he tests the screens, leading to some gags about him crossing the screens. He gets multiplied, blah,
That's
blah, blah.
cool. I like that.
The screen then gets painted into an ocean.
And emailed oh, okay, cool. Hold on. Let me check that out. Okay, so part 4 is the pre-show. Part 5 is the actual show itself. Oh, this is not the right one. This is the restaurant, I'm assuming? Muppet Vision Photos #1. Wait, what did you email? Emailed a photo of the updated phone. I didn't get that. All I got was the pizza parlor land. We should do videos or photos. I can try it. Oh yeah, same thing. I'm sure we can find that shit, and we'll just cut it and shit. What we should do to make it easy is find one good video that we can use the entirety of, so that way we only have to credit one person. It's much easier. We'll just have links to that. And if they do the show too, even better. So we'll figure that out next time we meet. I was thinking next Wednesday, just to keep it easy. We'll just do it every Wednesday. But all right. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to save this as a file, and then I'm also going to export it as a video just in case something happens, because I told you that one time where all my Friday assets, I had them all in the exact spots that I wanted them, and then the next time I opened them, it opened it wrong, and it moved them all around, and there was nothing I could do. So I took a giant break from it, and then as it turned out, I ended up losing that video entirely. Don't want that shit to ever happen again, so this is the precaution that I take. So actually, if we go to your folder here, I've got a folder called results, and these are the different versions of it that we have done so far after days. So this is day 1, day 2, day 3, and then this is day 4. Make sense? It's annoying, but it's worth it so that way you don't lose everything. You'd have to recut stuff, but that's better than redoing everything. All right. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Bye stream. There you go. Bye stream.